Welcome to the Beacon Way podcast, hosted by award-winning executive team of Beacon Media and Marketing. With over 3 decades of experience, Adrian, Jennifer, and Ken give you an insider's view of what's working, what's not, and what's on the horizon for digital marketing. Grow your business today with the Beacon Way podcast.
Welcome back to another episode of the Beacon Way podcast, Founders Edition. I have the honor of getting to talk to Michael today. And Michael joins us from Washington, D.C. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Wonderful. Michael is a seasoned media professional and mental health advocate with over 2 decades of experience in local television, including roles at WJLA and WUSA 9 in Washington, D.C. And he is the co-CEO, I'm going to see if I can say this right, Pizzetta Media?
Pizzetta Media.
Pizzetta, thank you. Pizzetta Media. And he combines his deep storytelling expertise with a powerful personal mission, and that is to amplify voices often overlooked by mainstream media. So we're going to get into Michael's story today, which is a really beautiful one, and I'm excited to share that with all of you today. So Michael, thank you again for joining us, and we're really excited. I know we're getting kind of into Memorial Day weekend here, so thank you for taking a few minutes out of your day and talking with us today.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Wonderful. So, Michael, I would love to hear, I know you've got, on your bio, we didn't go deep into that because we're going to be talking about it here. It's part of your story. But what really inspired you to start this business? And tell us a little bit about just your heart and your mission and the kind of some of the background about being a mental health advocate.
Yeah, so I've been in broadcasting for over 20 years. I just love anything video related. It's been great, but the news side is kind of depressing and focuses a lot on negative. And I want to focus more on people and what they do. So I eventually started creating my own content. And it was focused more on a person. And then for me, I was diagnosed with bipolar disorder 2 when I was 37 years old, so much later in life. And when I was diagnosed, there wasn't a whole lot of videos of people just succeeding in life, normal people. There is only some things about some celebrities, but I'm like, I'm a normal person. I want to know what other people are doing. So I'm like, I have these skills. I could create this. So I started, and then the past probably year and a half, people really are trusting me with their stories, and a lot of people in the mental health field. So it's great to combine my love for video editing with helping people.
Right. No, that's beautiful. And I know when we were talking earlier in one of your bios, you kind of mentioned some of the struggles that you'd had when you were still in the workplace, that you were kind of shut down by HR with that. So can you share with our audience a little bit about kind of what was some of that journey for you? And was that part of what led you to leave the workforce as an employee and start your own thing?
Yeah, because when I was diagnosed, I was scared to say things to people.
Right.
And I slowly started saying some to people at work, and like, okay, people are not going crazy or negative. Maybe I'll do this.
Good.
And then HR found out and said, well, if I say something, then people will feel uncomfortable about it. So then I'm like, oh, this is a negative thing. I shouldn't be doing this. And so for 2.5 years, I didn't say anything. And then I was working freelance for another place, and I said something, and they're like, yeah, whatever you need. I'm like, that's what I needed. So then I became open with talking about it. And it started first with me just feeling good. And then I'm like, I know there's other people out there that feel the same way, like feel alone, that they're only going through it. So I wanted to be as open as I can be to help people say,
Hmm.
okay, he's open with it, I could talk about it.
Yeah. No, that's wonderful. So how you said people are starting to, really trust you with your story, with
Yeah.
their story. How have people kind of responded as you've started to share your story out there? Was it similar to the freelance experience? People been you've gotten good feedback?
Yes, I have gotten, thank goodness, I have gotten really good feedback with people. And then a lot of people then share their story and they're like, I know
Right.
someone with bipolar, I have a family member,
Mhm.
or themselves. So
Mhm.
just sharing something makes people feel open,
Mhm.
which, sometimes is scary. So that's what I want to
Yeah.
do is, not have people be scared with it.
Right. Well, thank you for your transparency of just, sharing that with everybody. What are some of the challenges that you've kind of encountered as you've launched this and started telling people's stories, even either personally or technology or kind of whatever? But what are some of the challenges that you faced?
So a lot of challenges first is starting with trust because
Mm,
I'm not a big media company. I'm one guy. So
sure.
it is tough for people to realize this guy really knows what he's doing, both in technology and both in editorial storytelling. So that's
Mm-hmm.
the big thing of trusting people trusting me and getting these stories out there. But it is a little nerve wracking to do all this and create a business out of that. That was the toughest thing of be like, okay, I don't have the safety net anymore. This is what I
Right.
truly believe in, and this is what I want to do with my life and help others. So
Mm-hmm.
that's what I'm doing now.
So, how did you kind of overcome those fears? Because I think all of us entrepreneurs have encountered that at some point. Take that first leap of like, I'm going to do this. What was that journey like for you?
Well, I'll take this as an example. Me on camera is super nerve wracking. I was always behind the scenes in TV, but I'm
Mm,
like, the mission is more important than me being nervous or afraid.
mm,
So that's kind of
mhm,
what I think about it. Like, what I'm doing is more important than being uncomfortable for a
mm,
second of getting my story out there. Uh, which that's the big thing of getting rid of the nerves and
mm,
doing public speaking and then talking to you. And it's a little, I wasn't a big fan of it, but
mm.
it doesn't matter because the mission's more important.
That is truly beautiful. I know a lot of our clients are therapists or were therapists, now they're business owners,
Yeah.
and we hear that a lot of, they're used to being, in the therapy room, not being the front person for their organization. And that can be a challenging transition for anybody. And I know a lot of times we hear, they're like, I just don't want to come across salesy. I
Yeah.
don't, it's,
Right.
there's the privacy piece of like, oh man, everybody's looking at me. But there's also the like the concern of, I really want me to come through, not, I don't want to kind of look like a salesy person or something like that. So I think that's really encouraging for a lot of our audience members that to go ahead and face the camera because I get it. It's not comfortable.
Right.
I hate looking at the edits of myself.
I
Afterwards,
agree with me.
yeah,
Yes.
I have my assistant go through it first, and then afterwards, I'm like, okay, how bad was it? She's like, it's not bad, but I look at it and that's what I see. I see all the flaws. I see all the oopses and ums. I hear all of those and see them. And it can be really hard to get past that and over that. And
Yeah.
so congratulations and thank you for having the courage to overcome that because your message is very, very important.
Yeah, sometimes you're your own toughest critic because when other people see it like that was really good, I'm like, oh, I missed this, I missed this thing, I
Right.
missed a word, and all that. So sometimes you are thinking more than other people watching it.
Yeah. Yes, that's I think my assistant's favorite phrase is stop overanalyzing. She's like, just
Right.
stop. Just stop. And so that has been one of my coping mechanisms, if you will, is I have a few very trusted people, my co-founder Jennifer and my assistant and a few others that I really trust. And in fact, I trust them more than I trust myself in the perspective of the quality because I am my own worst critic. And that could very easily stand in the way of getting an important message out there. And like you were saying, the mission is more important. The cause is more important than my
Yeah.
own insecurities. But that is challenging. That takes a lot of courage. Now, I will say the first step is the worst. The first few podcasts were pretty dang bad. I will say. So, but hopefully we've gotten better. I think we have. I feel
I
like I've
think
gotten a little
so.
more
You're
comfortable.
asking some good questions. So, yes.
Well, thank you. Thank you. So, as you're starting this business and launching this, I know one of the most common things that we hear is that challenge to kind of find some harmony between the work and your passion project, especially when your work and your passion project are the same thing,
Yes.
and your family. So,
Yeah.
kind of what's come up for you in that, and kind of how are you navigating that?
A lot of it is do the work when your family's not around. I have two girls, 10 and 7, and my wife,
Mm.
they're at school. My wife is a teacher. And
Oh, okay.
so they're gone for a lot of hours of the day. So once they get home, I usually cook dinner and then talk to them and all that. So I try
Nice.
to, and then weekends as well, I try to talk to
Mm.
them because if
Mhm.
I'm thinking about work a lot, and I am because I'm always thinking the future, thinking
Right.
3 steps ahead of what I'm doing.
Mhm.
But you're missing out on some great things with family. So that's why I
Yeah.
try to do is I know I have these hours, let's get it done now so then I could focus
Mhm.
on family.
Yeah. No, that's really powerful. That time, almost time blocking, mentally, this is my work time, this is my family
Yes.
time. Um, I really love that kind of separation between the two. I think that's really important. Um, and it's hard. I think I got to the point where I got frustrated with work life balance because all I could ever think of was the freaking seesaw, and
Right.
I'm like, it's
Yeah.
either up or it's down. Somebody's getting smashed, when that thing comes down. And I remember those childhood games of like pushing off to try to see if you can knock the other person off. I'm like, you had a very violent childhood. But it does feel like sometimes the struggle we have as
Yeah.
entrepreneurs of like, you want to spend time with the family, but sometimes there's, that emergency piece. And so that to me, I always think of it as more like a harmony kind of a thing is how I've justified it in my head. That there's always point and counterpoint, and there's, kind of the treble clef and the bass clef. One's my home, one's my work. And, they both have their place. But oftentimes, you're doing one while the other one's maybe a little quieter. And so, yeah, I think that's a really beautiful balance that you found to to strike between your work world and your personal world.
Yeah, and the other thing is I'm not a big 9 to 5 person, so I do take
Mm,
breaks, and if something pops up in my head, I work on it then. But the big thing is being as creative as I can be.
right. And creativity doesn't strike from 9 to 5,
No,
unfortunately.
no, it doesn't.
I started my career as a graphic designer and branding expert. And so, yeah, the amount of times I used to keep like a notepad by my bedside because the amount of times I'd wake up at 2:30 in the morning with that brilliant idea
Yeah.
that I've been struggling with all day. And it's like, I got to get it out of my head. I used to just get up and do it. And finally, my husband's like, okay, you need to just write it down and go back to sleep. Like,
Yes.
don't, yeah. Because then I wouldn't go back to sleep. And then my days would stretch out ridiculously. But yes, some of the best ideas come from, when your brain's trying to sleep and restructure everything. So, but yes, I always tease my graphic designers now. I'm like, I get it. Creativity is not always a 9 to 5 sort of thing. And so there's, compensations we make for that, because you can't just say, okay, here's your window to be creative. It doesn't work like that.
Yeah,
Sometimes I wish it did. It'd be easier to make deadlines.
of course. Yes.
For sure. So, what advice would you give to somebody who's maybe thinking about stepping out of the workforce as an employee and stepping into launching their own endeavor? Like, what would you encourage people to do, or say, really, don't go there,
Yeah.
kind of a thing?
The big thing is believing in your mission. So
Mm,
it's going to be hard there. It's going to be a roller coaster, but if you really believe and work hard, that's going to be the big thing, because I know when I try to interview people or talk to sponsors, I probably get 2 yeses for every 100 no's. So you
right.
can't be thin skinned.
Mm,
Uh, that's one of the big focuses as well, is really believe in what you're doing, and you are going to get no's, but you are going to get some yeses, and that's what
mhm.
matters.
Yeah. No, thank you for that. So what's coming in the future for you and this endeavor? Where are you wanting to take it? And what's kind of your big driving mission with this, for where you want to go?
So on the YouTube page right now, we have 100,000 subscribers, with mainly focused on mental health content. So I
Mhm.
want to continue to do that, continue to grow, continue to create videos, and work with some of the bigger nonprofits. I'm
Mm,
doing work with NAMI to do stuff with them and be a
wonderful.
speaker there. So I'm very excited about that. So it's just
Yeah.
getting my name out as much as I can and help as much as I can, because that's a big part of it, is not only interviewing people, but getting their message out there.
Right. Yeah. No, that's really, it's incredible. Thank you. How are you managing working with, because I won't even say working around. I have dyslexia and dyscalculia, so that makes a lot of things very interesting in life, and my teammates are very gracious with me with a lot of that. But what are some things that you've used to kind of navigate with the bipolar piece and running your own business, and what are some of tools or techniques that you found to be effective for you?
I have a big support system, so my family understands, and then
Mm,
I have a medicine regimen that I take daily. I see a therapist, I see a psychiatrist. I try to work out. I need to do a better job of working out,
we all
but
do, yeah.
and then the big thing for me is, if I'm feeling overstressed, I just need to take a break and relax and know that if I'm frazzled, that's not helping anyone at all.
Mm,
So I need to
right.
just take a breath. So that's a lot of the stuff I do.
Mm, okay, yeah, thank you. What are some of the resources that have kind of really helped you as you've launched this business, kind of work through growing this business, that might help other founders or CEOs out there? Have there been anything that really kind of stands out for you?
Yeah, I joined my local chamber of commerce. So they
Mm-hmm.
have a lot of sessions and trainings, and just talking to other businesses, because a lot of the businesses that are like 1 to 2 people, so not very
Mm-hmm.
big businesses, but they're succeeding. So try to be a sponge and learn from them. Uh,
Mm,
just knowing, that's the big thing, just knowing other people are going through something helps a
yes.
lot, because sometimes you're like, how am I going through this? This is so
Hmm.
tough. But then
Yeah.
hearing it from other people and how they resolve these issues helps.
Hmm. Yeah, it really does. I agree. I think we all kind of feel like we're in our own bubble and we must be the
Yes.
only ones dealing with this. Somebody else, everybody
Right.
else has got it figured out and we don't. And that is the
Yeah.
exact opposite of the truth, right?
Yeah. Everyone is successful and doing amazing things except me, which that's not the best thinking.
No, I think that's a lie we all fall into,
Right.
as entrepreneurs at some point or another. And I think it's almost too easy to compare ourselves to what we see on social media or what we see out there. And I really appreciate that I'm seeing a trend of more and more transparency in
Yeah.
founders and CEOs, especially in the small and medium business space, which is really encouraging to me and part of why it encouraged me to start this podcast and join and add some momentum, hopefully, to this movement. It seems like of us entrepreneurs going, hey, no, I got struggles too. Like
Yeah.
I didn't sleep last night. I either couldn't shut my brain down because I'm excited, or I'm worrying about payroll and bills and whether or not we're going to close that new account. And so it's really brings me joy because I started my first business in 2001. I was early 20s, had no idea what was going on, and feel like I made every mistake there was to make at least once, and how many times my co-founder and I would just be like, man, we're going around this mountain again. I thought we learned the lesson last time, and it's a little different this time, or there was still more to learn, or, there were so many different things, but we would compare ourselves and it's still a struggle. And again, feel worse because the persona that was typically out there was, we're leaders. We have to have it all together. We can't ever say that we failed or we made a mistake
Yeah.
or we don't know what's going on. And so I really appreciate, like I said, what I'm seeing is almost this grassroots kind of movement away from that corporate, you're the leader, you got to have all your shit together
Yeah.
and nobody else can know anything different. Like to this, no, like I'm human. I screw up.
Yes. And
I make
different
mistakes.
ideas. Yeah.
Right. And so, yeah, I think that's really important. And are you seeing, it sounds like you're experiencing some of that with your local chamber group and that kind of thing.
Yes. And that's a big thing. A lot of people are starting out and going through the same things.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really encouraging. Well, is there anything else you would like to share with our audience today?
No, just thank you for having me. And if anyone wants to learn more, just go to pizzettamedia.com, or our YouTube page is youtube.com/Pizzetta Media.
Wonderful. Absolutely. And we'll put all those links in for you for the recording as well. So you've got those to access. And thank you so much, Michael, for joining us today. And for any of you out there that are interested in talking to Michael and having your story shared, I really encourage you to reach out and connect with him. And hopefully we'll get to hear your story with Michael here very soon. So, Michael, thank you again for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for joining us on this episode of The Beacon Way. And we look forward to having you join us next time. Thank you.
You have been listening to the Beacon Way podcast. Make sure to join us for new episodes every week. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the Beacon Way on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts.